Welcome to the presentation of the North Stonington Public Schools proposed budget for the 2023-2024 school year. The initial superintendent's budget was presented at 6.7% to the Board of Education. The board, in an effort to be fiscally responsible to the town, challenged the administrative team to rethink and prioritize budget items in an even more efficient and innovative way. The team worked to decrease the requested amount by over $215,000, which brought the percent down from 6.7 to 5.2. This revised budget of 5.2% still allows us to meet the Board of Ed goals, including proactively supporting the increased mental health needs of students. Our vision, mission, and Board of Education goals provide purpose and guidance in the important work of preparing our learners, your children, for a successful future. We work to ensure that all North Stonington students are empowered with the academic ability to read, write, collaborate, solve problems, and think critically. We also provide the environment in which resiliency, respect, and responsibility are instilled in our students. As we created a budget, it was with this vision in mind. The Board of Education adopted goals over the next 3 years. With fiscal responsibility, this budget supports these goals. Goal 1 is a heavy focus in this budget. It's to embed practices and procedures throughout the schools and curriculum experiences that ensure all students and staff and families feel safe, valued, and have a sense of belonging. Events of recent years have resulted in significantly increased mental health and behavioral needs nationally. Yes, and among our student body. This increase has negatively affected the learning environment for students and staff, stretched staff unsustainably, and put students at risk. As you will see, this budget will help us address mental health. Goal number 2 on innovative instruction and goal 3 on efficient and transparent processes are also supported by this budget. We appreciate the collaboration with the town. The town has supported education, and education has supported the town. The Board of Ed is responsibly and thoughtfully using the non-lapsing account to pay for items that are not in this budget, and has actually moved some of the items from the original budget to the non-lapsing account to keep the overall increase down. I'm not sure everyone knows, but we have students from other towns like Voluntown and Preston who pay tuition to attend Wheeler High School. This tuition money goes directly to the town to offset taxes for residents of North Stonington. The total revenue anticipated for 23-24 school year is over $300,000, which is an increase of $190,000 over the current year. The Board of Education and the town share facilities and work together to provide the best services possible for the residents of North Stonington. The space in schools is used by various community groups. We have increased efficiencies in cost and processes. A reorganization of our information technology department allowed us to save money by not using Learn technology support this year. Saving additional funds, we also stopped using a company that finds substitute teachers. And we incorporated our grounds functions into our existing facilities department, effectively eliminating a position. Our focus on efficiencies is a major reason our budget increase is as low as it is.
Wheeler continues to thrive through our tuition movement, and our 7 to 12 building is home to 337 students. Next year, we will be the chosen high school of 25 Preston and Voluntown students, and that number continues to grow. The North Stonington administrative team is committed to maintaining the partnerships with Preston and Voluntown and truly believe more and more students will choose Wheeler, as it is very similar to their K-8 experience. Each year, more of our existing population of 8th graders are also choosing to stay at Wheeler because the faculty and staff continue to provide additions to our program of studies, including many college-level courses and elective offerings. Next year, we are thrilled to announce that we are re-adding our materials processing woodworking class back into our tech ed offerings, but modernizing it to allow students opportunities to build on their manufacturing skills. Our program of studies is filled with opportunities for students to find what they need in-house without having to go to other schools. Our accreditation work these past few years has really allowed our school to expand and grow with the changing times, which is what our mission and vision is all about, providing students with the education that will best help them to live lives of accomplishment and satisfaction in a complex and changing world. At Wheeler, we have 3 pathway opportunities for students to specialize in the areas of engineering, business, and education. This allows students hands-on internship experience during their time in high school that puts them in a solid position to join the career force or to expand on their expertise at the college level. We also have students completing work-study programs where they are able to begin their careers while also earning high school credit in the process. These enhancements to our programming not only keep students in North Stonington, but also keep your tax dollars within our town and not going elsewhere.
Wheeler students are active community members who continue to give back to the town of North Stonington through blood drives, community fundraisers, and through a great amount of volunteer work they are providing to those in need. The North Stonington Food Pantry and Giving Closet are both supported by Wheeler, and the Giving Closet began as a Wheeler Give Back initiative. Thanks to the hard work of our athletic director, we are also drawing many students to our school through our increased sports offerings. Through co-ops and teams of one, we have students playing football, wrestling, ice hockey, tennis, and track, as well as participating in the traditional sports that are bringing huge crowds back into our gymnasium. This past volleyball and basketball season have brought record numbers into our gym, with Wheeler pride busting at the seams. Our school is a hub for the town, and we work hard each and every day to make the citizens of North Stonington proud of their school. Our budget additions continue to support these initiatives, but it is critical that as a district, we focus more time and attention on our students' mental health. We need an additional social worker to avoid the ripple effect we are seeing with only having one shared social worker between 2 buildings. This ripple effect is pulling counselors, school psychologists, administrators, and teachers from completing their own responsibilities, which directly impacts programming and other students across the board. Over the last 2 years, and including projections for next year, the total amount of tuition raised through the hard work of the administrative team's recruiting efforts in Preston and Voluntown has totaled $536,770 in revenue to the town of North Stonington. Although many towns around us have been struggling and dealing with declining enrollment, we have not seen that trend in North Stonington. When many towns were dropping significantly, we have either plateaued or grew slightly. With our recent building project, the elementary school took back an additional 50+ Wheeler students from the middle high school, who are now being replaced at Wheeler by tuition-paying students from Preston and Voluntown. By the end of 2025, we are projecting to have between 40 and 50 tuition students from these towns, which will bring in over $500,000 each budget season, while at the same time keeping our enrollment solid and in our control.
At North Stonington Elementary School, our students continue to excel academically, outperforming similar districts in both math and reading. We have an incredibly dedicated and talented staff who focus on giving every student what they need to be successful. Our teachers also look for and find ways to provide additional learning opportunities for our students, including STEAM initiatives, homework club, art enrichment, physical education morning club, and of course, our drama club. Our families support their children in their learning and growing, and they function as partners with the school to provide students with the best education. The playground our children enjoy every day was funded by this community, spearheaded by our PTO, built by volunteers, and serves as a constant reminder of the great things that North Stonington does for their students and their schools. This year, our budget has some increases worth noting. We are looking to get into alignment with the middle school by adopting the same math program for 6th grade, the illustrative math program through decimals. This is what is known as a problem-based curriculum and focuses more on having students do the math and learn through exploration. It's a wonderful program. By aligning with the middle school, we will be able to offer an accelerated math curriculum in 6th grade, which will allow 2 years for students to learn 3 years worth of content and put them on track to take geometry in 8th grade. North Stonington Elementary School is starting curriculum work this year with our focus on ELA. Our teachers in grades K1 and 2, along with our reading specialists, have been doing a lot of professional development work around the science of reading and best practices along this. We are learning that there are more efficient and effective ways to teach reading to our youngest students, and we are poised to begin these changes. Part of this work will require us to change how we provide tiered support, and more paraprofessionals will be needed to effectively implement this change. We are also seeing many more students coming in with trouble self-regulating and have learning social skills. More para support at the K-1 level is necessary to ensure that all students are getting the support that they need. I also echo Mrs. St. Germain's concern around needing an additional social worker. We all know how difficult the pandemic was, and we have many students in need of help. The National Association of Social Workers recommends one social worker for every 250 students. We currently have one for over 700. It is so important for us to be sure that we meet the needs of our emotional needs of our students so that learning can then take center stage.
Student services includes the school nurses, English language learning, support for homeless students and their families, counseling, transportation, and disability services. These services are mandated by state and federal law. The district seeks out grants and other ways to offset costs, but the town is required to fund all of these services. Currently in North Stonington, there are 93 special education students and 90 students with 504 plans. So that means 183 out of 762 total students, or 24% of the student population, require more services than a typical student, and this number is growing. There are two main laws that make the district responsible for a number of requirements: IDEA for special education and 504 under civil rights law. 504 in special education require the district to find and identify all children in the town between the ages of 3 to 22 who have a disability. These children are then entitled to FAPE, which stands for free and appropriate public education at the taxpayer's expense. The difference between what 504 and special ed laws require can be demonstrated through an example. If we consider a child who requires a wheelchair, under 504 or civil rights law, the district cannot discriminate against the child because of their disability. We need to provide access to the buildings and classrooms. This can come as an expense to put in ramps or widen doorways. The district would need to provide special transportation that could accommodate the wheelchair. We would have to ensure that the student has access to general education, which could involve hiring a para to help the student move between classes, take notes, and perform functions of daily living, including toileting and feeding. The district would also need to provide physical and occupational therapy to help the student with school-related activities. If the student qualifies for special education, which means that on top of the physical disability, the student has some sort of neurological impairment requiring specialized instruction, we would have to provide everything under 504 law, plus a psychoeducational evaluation every 3 years, individualized instruction, and a plan for that instruction, parental involvement and notification about any and all changes to that plan, and vocational support until the child turns 22 years old. Oftentimes, though, students have disabilities that aren't as visible as needing a wheelchair. Many disabilities are related to learning, like dyslexia, ADHD, and autism, or are emotional or behavioral in nature. Currently, we have that one social worker for the entire district. She sees 80 students on a weekly basis in non-crisis situations. About half of those students have special ed or 504 plans, which make the services mandatory. It's an impossible task given the increase in student needs. As everyone said before me, we're seeing an increase in students' need for more support. This budget addresses those needs in a way that will minimize what the district has to outsource. It will allow us to pay paras enough to fill the positions and give resources to keep support services in the district with the district's own staff. When we outsource, it costs the taxpayers more than double what it costs us to provide the services with our own staff.
In summary, the Board of Education budget is built upon collaboration with the town. In terms of efficiencies, shared spaces, the use of the non-lapsing account, and tuition revenue, which totals over $300,000 for the next fiscal year. When one considers the projected tuition revenue increase that goes directly to the town The net increase in the Board of Education budget is at just 3.9%. As a reminder, this budget has already been reduced from the initial superintendent's budget by looking for efficiencies and using innovative thinking. And some of the items were taken out of the budget and placed in the non-lapsing account. This budget allows for us to maintain all academic services and extracurricular activities. It adds a much-needed social worker position to address the mental health needs of the student body. It brings back the woodshop. It allows us to formally create an alternative education program that is so important for our kids and families and allows for future savings. As you can see, the budget is made up of various components at different percentages. Salaries and benefits make up the majority of the budget, and there's very little flexibility with the remaining parts. To help everyone feel even more confident in this responsible and reasonable budget, let's compare to some area towns, East Lyme, Stonington, and Waterford, who had budget numbers available early in this season. Over 2 years, we are clearly the lowest. Let's put some perspective on the Board of Education budget increases. The overall increases of the Board of Education budget over 10 years, including the current proposal of 5.2%, averages just 1.9%. This is lower than the average 10-year Social Security cost of living adjustment of 2.58. So let's invest in our schools and support this budget. We have great schools, plan to keep it that way, and make them even better. This budget is vital to that plan. I want to thank my administrative team and the Board of Education for their collaborative efforts, resulting in this responsible and transparent budget that allows us to proactively meet the learning needs of students. Please reach out to me with any questions or comments. On behalf of the students and staff of North Stonington Public Schools, thank you for your time and interest in our exceptional schools.